Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Salsman. I am the founder, owner, operator of LQD Assets. I'm calling in from Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in Bardstown, Kentucky, which is the bourbon capital of the world. And that's kind of how I got connected to the business that I run today. It is a heritage that I am very proud of and a culture that a lot of people probably don't know about. I grew up with rick houses in my backyard and the smell of mash and bourbon everywhere I went. And it's something that really reminds me of home. And when I went away to college, I got the opportunity to start investing in whiskey barrels, which combined my passion for home with my passion for financial education and investments and business. I actually went to school at the University of Alabama for civil engineering, where I got my degree and started working as a civil engineering designer for several years while I was exploring the side of whiskey investments, and actually ended up kind of turning that into my full-time career. So started building our whiskey investment program back in 2019 with a group of family and friends. And the gentleman who had started it said, this has been a great time and it's been fun, but this is a full-time job and we're not looking for another one of those. And I kind of raised my hand and said, well, I would love to take over this. This is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I truly care about. And it's fun. So let me do it. And then I approached them with a new business plan with some of our lessons learned applied and turned it into a full-time business for me. I was growing it for 3 years, the last 3.5 years. So I started in 2022. I went off on my own to do this. And since then, we've raised over $21 million and grown to have about 100 entities investing to date, which has been phenomenal. We've actually grown and expanded into warehousing as well to be able to store our own barrels on site. We've got about 70,000 barrels in our warehouse with about 110,000 square feet worth of warehousing space today. And we've also gone out and worked with over 25 brands on the consulting side as well to help them with financing of their barrels and getting them inventory alongside consulting for, helping them grow their brand, marketing, advertising, distribution, all of the above. And so, with our investment program, I have been blessed with the opportunity to teach people about the values of diversification and, really broken into the space of educating people on the value of exploring opportunities in alternative asset classes. So with that, I've really enjoyed meeting all of the investors. They have been mentors for me, as well as guidance in, personal life as well, which has been super great for me. I've enjoyed getting to work alongside my father and one of my other business partners on the warehousing side to be able to build a little bit of a family business my background, like I mentioned earlier, is in civil engineering. And so with that, ethics is a huge piece of the puzzle. And, they teach you to build your buildings with integrity, and that has translated into also running a business with integrity. And that's something that is a core value for me. And I have continued to portray that in my business over the years, and I hope to continue to do that in the future. It has been an amazing opportunity to learn myself more about alternative assets and learning about the stock market and learning about stocks and bonds, learning about investing in coffee bean farms, investing in real estate, investing in whiskey barrels. And not only have I been able to explore that for myself, but being able to share that with other people has been a blessing for me, and also is a passion for me. I have been able to explore investments from a very young age. I think I was 12 or 13 years old when I opened my first investment account with a stockbroker. At that time, you had to pay, I think, $20 every time that you wanted to trade a stock. So I remember one of the first ones I ever wanted to buy was Apple. And so I started, exploring that side of trading and investing at a very young age. So the opportunity, when it presented itself in my mid-20s, early 20s, to invest in an alternative asset such as whiskey barrels, it was a no-brainer for me. I also started investing at a similar time in real estate. And so I've really been able to see in my personal life the value of diversification, and, really realizing that there are many, many ways to build wealth and turn that into generational wealth is something that has been very impactful in my life. And so I plan to continue to find alternative assets outside of whiskey barrels, real estate, and other things to grow my portfolio. And I would love to be able to share that with my audience and with other people interested in learning about alternative assets and wealth building for not only myself, my family, but the generations that come after me as well, and for my offspring and the family that I'm able to build in the future. So that's been a great time for me, and I appreciate the interest in learning with me here.
Thank you so much for sharing your story this morning, Morgan. It's so inspiring to see a young woman who is driven, focused, and building generational wealth for herself, but you're also helping other people to do the same. Now, give us the original story of how LQD Assets came to life. How old were you? Was this straight after college? What did it feel like to build this company?
I was 22 years old, I believe. It may be 23 years old, but I was pretty close out of college. I had started investing with a different group earlier in my life, right around 21, so a year or two before I started my own company. And the gentleman had told me, hey, this has been great, but we really want to, close up shop. We've done our thing, and I wasn't ready for that to happen. So I turned around and proposed to them, hey, what if we make all these changes and grow a new company out of this? I'd love to run it. I would love to do this as a side gig while I was at that time still working at my civil engineering job, and really took that and ran with it. From there, I had 9 of the original 12 investors come over and started investing with me. And that was really the catalyst for me to get started. And I knew nothing about running or growing a business at the time, and it was a really fun experience for me. I like to say I had a lot of blind optimism at that point. I didn't know really what failure looked like because I'd never thought about it. And luckily, I think that really kept me on track for a really long time.
So, for listeners new to this category, what makes Age Spirits an attractive alternative asset?
Yeah, so whiskey as opposed to something like vodka. So like whiskey and tequila, and you can go to Irish whiskey, you can go over to Scotland as well. Those types of liquor are required to age in barrels. So there is a time investment that's associated with the product. And so because there's a time investment, there is also an appreciation, a financial appreciation of the product over time, because it becomes more valuable because of the time that's put into it. So as opposed to vodka, where it comes off the still, maybe distilled a couple times, and then it goes right into the bottle, this time investment makes it more valuable. And that is kind of what differentiates it from other maybe alcoholic beverage classes.
Very fascinating. I know nothing about alcohol. So, how does time in the barrel translate into the potential investment value?
So, the barrels will continue to appreciate in value over time as long as the whiskey remains in the barrel. As soon as you take the whiskey and dump it out of the barrel, the aging stops. And so when the aging stops, the appreciation also stops. Once you put that product into a bottle, the aging is finished. And that's kind of when the clock starts ticking for these brands to need to start to see a return on their investment.
Okay. So, what barriers keep women and other underrepresented groups out of the alcohol brew ownership, and how are you tackling them?
Alcohol has a pretty high barrier to entry when you're talking about building a brand. And so it can be quite a lot of upfront capital, just like starting any business, really. But I would say there's a lot of time and money that goes into building a brand. And so for us, our partnership with whiskey brands particularly is that our goal is to hold the financial responsibility of the aging process for brands so that they can use any other capital that they earn from revenue or borrow from a bank, maybe on a PO loan, or borrow from a bank for operational capital. They can use that money to grow and build their brand, and they don't have to worry about where their inventory is coming from or storing capital in inventory. It really allows them to use their money to grow their brand where they know exactly where the product is coming from, and they have a strong partner to be able to lean on without having to have that asset on their books.
Okay. Now, I'm curious to know, can you share a light bulb moment from an investor who didn't realize whiskey could build wealth?
Absolutely. I feel like I would say probably 75 to 80% of the people that I speak with don't even know this is an option, and let alone know the upside value of this type of investment. It's a very niche investment, and so it really is kind of a light bulb moment for everyone. You don't realize you can invest in a barrel of whiskey that's aging in the state of Kentucky. And I like to call it a romantic investment. That's what my family calls it, because there's a level of excitement around it.
Yeah.
And so treating it as an alternative asset has been, something new to majority of people.
Fascinating. Yeah, this is the first time I've heard of this concept. So, how do you balance respect for bourbon heritage with industry disruption?
That's a great question, because the bourbon industry is very deeply rooted in tradition. And I can even say for my family heritage, we are 3 generations deep in Bardstown, and I'm sure there's more than that. Those are just, the ones top of mind for me. And your relationships really matter. Even, it's a silly thing, but my phone number starts with the number 502, and that's an area code from Bardstown specifically. And the amount of times people answer my phone call and say, I know it's not a teleprompter coming from, or a telemarketer coming from Bardstown, Kentucky, so it must be about whiskey. It's a very well respected place and heritage. So that is, something that must be respected. And we do our best to work and partner with the heritage-based brands to make sure that we are playing by the rules and honoring that heritage while still bringing new innovative opportunities to the table and new innovative brands into the market. Because, the new generation is just as valuable as the heritage as well.
So, what data and market signals convinced you the timing was right for LQD assets?
Data and timing markets. So, for me, I think whiskey is such a unique and, misunderstood market. Not many people really know about it. And so for me, what's felt second nature, I have learned is not to most. I've been able to see the impact the whiskey market has had on my hometown and the growth and the economic development that has come out of this industry for my hometown and my state. And that has been immense. Seeing the growth on that side of things, seeing all the new distilleries that were popping up, all of the new brands that were popping up was a no-brainer signal for me that this industry is on its way up. And a lot of those distilleries have now pushed for international distribution, international partnerships for their whiskeys. And that has been, such a pleasure to watch. I don't deal in the international markets much at all. I'm too small. I'm a small fish in the big pond in that scheme. But I have been able to work with many partners that do, and their growth in other markets really helps a company like me with our domestic ability to perform.
So, talk us through risk. What should first-time alternative investors understand
about alternative asset investing in whiskey barrels? Well, there are many things that you should evaluate. One of them is your ability to live without the capital you're investing. And that's in any asset you invest in. You always have to think about what is worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is this asset value goes to zero. Yes. And in whiskey barrel investing, even if this asset goes to zero, you still have a tangible asset. It's similar to real estate in that way. The value of real estate goes to zero, you still have a house to live in. And so, that is a unique factor that many investments don't have, such as the stock market, such as a bond. And so, and crypto, that's a new space that a lot of people are dealing in with the alternative assets. And so having that alternative asset with a asset-backed investment is a unique factor and something that should be considered when you are evaluating which classes to explore.
Fascinating. Wow. Now let's talk about partnerships. Where do partnerships with distilleries fit into your business model?
Distilleries are our source. They're kind of where we start. So we work with distilleries to produce product for us. So distilleries will produce the barrels. We will buy the barrels on behalf of brands. And then we will hold these barrels and age them for 3 to 8 years. And then once they are of age and the brands are ready to put them in the bottle, the brands will buy them from us, and then they'll put them in the bottle. Then they get put on the shelf.
Right. Awesome. Now, how are you using storytelling to educate and onboard non-traditional investors?
I think for me, my ability to connect so deeply with the heritage of the state of Kentucky and Bardstown in particular really gives me a stake of credibility. And it's second nature to me. It really feels like if you meet anyone that I know, they will tell you, I am from Kentucky. I am proud to be from Kentucky. I wear it like a badge of honor. And so when you meet me and you learn that, it makes a lot of sense to understand my connection to the whiskey industry itself. Yes. And so that has been, one of the greatest things, I think, is to be able to show the pride I have in my heritage and where I come from.
Yeah. So what role does community, online and in person, play in scaling a spirit-linked venture?
It's very important. I think that word of mouth is, the best way to grow any business. And if you know anything about the spirits industry, it's a very relationship based industry. People really care and they really want to help you, and they want your business to succeed because it makes their business succeed. When we went out in our venture to start building our warehouses, we were calling our distilling partners and asking them for advice and saying, hey, I know you've done this before. What do you think we should do? And never once were we hung up on. Never once were we given, the short end of the stick or half-ass advice. It was very, here's what we would do. We would love to see you succeed. How can we help you? And that was something that, it's true to Kentuckians, it's true to the spirits industry, and it's true to how we run our business as well.
So as an under 30 founder in a legacy industry, what credibility hurdles have you faced and how did you overcome them?
That's a great question. I, of course, have always thought that my age would stir some questions in a room, but I feel like I speak with enough confidence and knowledge and from such a place of deep-rooted connection that I have been able to establish a foothold in every room that I've been in. I think I have been able to really grow in that way as well, to learn how to kind of step up to the plate and make sure that I'm educated before I'm walking into the room, with all the information that I need to make clean and clear decisions, negotiate well and fairly, and operate from a point of an ethical standpoint as well.
Well, that's fantastic. So if a woman listening today wants her first pour as an investor, where should she start?
I would say educate yourself on, the alternative asset class of whiskey barrels, and absolutely check out the website that I have on lqdassets.co. There's a lot of webinars on there that you can look at to learn more about it. And you can also check out my LinkedIn. I spend a lot of time putting out information on LinkedIn about the industry, about building a business, about my struggles as an entrepreneur, and all of those places are great to look at, and I'm happy to send you some personal ones as well if you're interested.
That's awesome. So what's the long-term vision and the new asset class portfolio platform or movement?
So for me, my long-term vision, when I started building this company, I had a 10 to 12 year plan in mind. And so far, I'm about 3.5 years into it. It's been phenomenal. Nothing but great things to say about it. Of course, there's been some challenges, but the pros outweigh the cons tenfold. So I'm still on the track to do that. And the long-term vision for the industry, we are still seeing some great growth. There has been a little bit of a correction, post-COVID, as people are readjusting to new lifestyle changes, new economic situations, all of that. But the industry is still doing very well, holding very strong. International markets are doing well. Domestically, people are consuming. Bourbon, I would say, is a little bit of a culty following in terms of different, liquor. And they are some loyal fans, and they love their whiskey, that's for sure.
I love it. We have someone chiming in there online, commenting on the podcast at the moment. SOG Crispin Dairy, thank you for commenting there. This is a fascinating conversation. I have to agree with you. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, but this is the first time I've interviewed someone like you. Now, one of the other things we talked about a little bit earlier was the fact that you are a thought leader. You have developed a way of doing business, a way of being that other people can actually learn from. You told me that consistency is what has got you here. Explain that to me and to the audience.
Absolutely. The phrase that I like to use is inconsistently consistent. And, that's true in pretty much every aspect of my daily routine, whether it's exercise, whether it's the food that I'm eating, whether it's journaling, whether it's, the way I schedule paying my invoices. You just got to keep working towards that goal and you got to keep pushing. I think I used the analogy earlier of Dory from Finding Nemo. She always says, just keep swimming. And as long as you're taking steps towards that goal, even if they're baby steps, they will all add up at the end of the day. There's a book I like to recommend. It's called The Art of Daily Consistency, I believe is what it's called. And it's by Robin Sharma. And he talks about this, over and over again. And consistency is really the core of what keeps me going. It helps you find kind of that middle line through the ups and downs as well. When you're in the downs, you have a routine to rely on. And when you're in the ups, you have kind of a baseline to start with. And it has really been a mantra I have lived with for the last, 6 to 8 months, very, very severely. And it has been monumental for me.
Absolutely awesome. Now, the last two questions are a bit of a thought experiment. In the first one, I'm going to take you into the past, to that young 23-year-old who stepped into the world of business with gusto and determination. Just in case there's another 23-year-old in the engineering field wanting to do the same thing that you have done, if you could go back and give her 3 nuggets of wisdom, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
One of them would definitely be to find an advisor that you trust, that you can rely on and confide in to, help guide you. Even if they're not in the same industry, they can help you, learn how to run a business, whether that's setting up legal entities or setting up, an invoicing system or something like that. It's very good to find a mentor or at least a community that can help you with that. Another nugget I would share is, you can collect as much knowledge as you want in the world, but you have to apply it. Clarity comes through action. And so taking action on these things that you're working towards is going to be what really gets you, to take those steps and keep moving forward. A third one is you got to have some confidence in yourself. I think when we were talking earlier, I was talking about having a little bit of blind confidence in the success of my business. It was kind of like a keep moving forward situation. And one day I looked up and turned around and saw how far I had come. And, at 23, I really hadn't experienced many failures in terms of, running a business or setbacks. And trust me, I've had several in the last few years. But being able to see through those and continue to believe in the success of your business is very important, because if you don't, there may not be anyone else out there doing it.
Absolutely awesome advice. Last question is futuristic. I'm going to teleport you into the future this time. And we are going to go and have a conversation with a 90-year-old you. By now, her business is thriving. She's married. She's got children and grandchildren and maybe great-grandchildren. If we could go and meet the 90-year-old you, based on how you have lived your life and how she has guided you up until that point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her? Now, I like asking women this question because a lot of women don't realize that the wise woman is already in us, that she is that quiet voice that gives you the courage to break into a male-dominated industry at the age of 23. I mean, who does that, right? She's that little voice that whispers and guides you. Some women don't listen to her. They don't trust her. You definitely trust your wise woman. So what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
I'll probably say we did it. Look at what we've done. This has been awesome. And hopefully I'll have some great memories to look back on. I'll also probably say a lot of you were right. You were touching on it saying, you got to trust your intuition. And if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So that's definitely where I would be starting, and probably end with a thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for guiding me, and thank you for never giving up.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I have a little game that I play. I like to play with the energy of who I am becoming. So ever since I was young, I have been talking to that 90-year-old woman. Sometimes I would get stuck with something and I would go into my meditation and prayers at night, and I would sleep with a question as simple as, so what is the next step, right? And I wake up in the morning, I'm in the shower, and I have those light bulb moments, and I know exactly what I need to do to execute. But a lot of women don't realize that the wisdom is in us. You are born with everything you need to achieve all of the goals that you want in this life, but you've got to trust yourself. You've got to listen to your intuition to guide you. So thank you for being an amazing example of that possibility. And thank you for this podcast. Absolutely intriguing and fascinating.
It's been great. I really appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate all you've done as well.
It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We're a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a woman who's looking for those alternative investment options, here is somebody who can guide you. I've got Morgan's website at the bottom of the screen. Reach out to her, educate yourself, learn something new. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Morgan, thanks again for the interview.
Thank you very much.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.